We will have two programs over some of the Chapter 6 concepts. Our first program will only involve adding void methods for modularization. Methods that are void do not return a value, and they simply do things. The methods that we will be including will be working with our interface. Here is a very simple hierarchy chart. We have an event handler, the form load event. From the form load event, we will call a void module called initialize data. And the initialize data for this application will simply declare your variables and initialize them, and then use that data that's in the variables to load these controls right here. So we'll need an account number, checking, savings, and auto loan. However, as we get into later chapters, such as the chapter on databases, it could be that we'll be modifying initialized data. Initialized data may be called from a login screen. That login screen then will access the user's record, and data from that record could be used to load this data here. So we may be doing that. Here is another hierarchy chart with the event handler transaction type combo box selected index change. What is going to happen is the user will select a type of transaction that they want to do on their account. When they have selected this, it's going to trigger this event handler. This event handler should use a switch statement to decide which of these four options was selected, and then from there call the appropriate method. And what I have done is I have created 4 panels. One panel contains the deposit input data, one will contain withdrawal, one will contain a loan payment, and one will contain transfer. And really what I am initializing here, these 4 methods, is the GUI. I'm making the GUI behave the way it should. So when I click on deposit, you see that I now have deposit details. An account can be selected, an amount entered. I have not coded this make deposit. We're going to wait until next week to do that because I want to be able to return values. So I have not done that yet. And there's the withdrawal. So when withdrawal is selected, okay, the withdrawal panel is visible. And there's transfer. So when transfer is selected, the transfer panel is visible. And then the make payment. Here's the payment panel is visible. Payment only applies to the auto loan. This may change, however, if we start having a database-driven application. We should be able to look to see, well, there's an auto loan and a mortgage, and put multiple types of accounts depending on the customer account, what they have. First, let me discuss the panels. With panels, if you make the panel visible property false, all of the controls nested within that panel will not be visible. So I've created 4 panels, nested these controls, for example, within panel deposit. I am making the panels not visible, visible property false. So as I select withdraw, I'm making the deposit, the loan payment, and the transfer panel visible property false, and I'm making the withdrawal panel visible property true. And I noticed a lot of repeatability as I did this. So that is one of the reasons that we create modules. We create modules so we're not doing the copy and paste. And to be honest, that's exactly what I was doing. I was doing the copy and paste. So I thought to myself, is there a more efficient way to do this to make the panels turn off and on as needed? And I will include details on how to do that instead of copying and pasting the source code. When the transaction type is transfer, you will need to do one additional thing. And you won't be doing it in the initialize transfer module. You'll be doing it in the selected index change event handler for the combo box representing the from account. So obviously you can transfer from checking and savings. You cannot transfer from a loan. So at design time, I have added these 2 items to the items collection. However, if checking were selected, it would not make sense to have checking here. And I don't know if the user is going to click on checking or savings. So this combo box is being loaded dynamically whenever that index changes. So now I have savings selected, and you'll notice this combo box gives me the option of checking or loan. However, if I have checking selected, this has now been updated to savings and loan. Okay, so that summarizes what we're going to do this week with this program. We will continue and work on this program next week when we will be including modules that return values.